At the start of the series, we are introduced to the protagonist Su Qian, who is the chef at a 3-star Michelin restaurant. Xian is almost 30 years old, so she is often forced by her mother, Li, to go on blind dates. Hesitantly, she agrees to go on a blind date with her mother, watching over her. However, when her blind date shows up, Xian bolts immediately because the man is quite a bit older than her. In order to evade the man, she runs into the busy road, followed by her mother. Li screams at her, saying that she must marry soon as she doesn't have much time left to live. Hearing this, Xian is shocked and she abruptly stops in the middle of the road. Suddenly, she gets hit by a car. Xian is immediately taken to the hospital, but when she wakes up, she surprisingly finds herself in the body of someone from ancient China. A voice asks her if she's okay. Xian turns around to see a girl named Jin Jing, the same age as her, calling her mistress. It turns out that Xian is now the daughter of a famous duke from the Xiao family. Our heroine is absolutely disorientated, but she soon hears the voice of her mother telling her that she has 45 to 77 days to find a person she truly loves and get married. Otherwise, she can't escape from this timeline. Soon after, Xian learns from Jin Jing that she's getting married to a general from the Chu family tomorrow. This makes her excited, thinking she'll be able to get out of this timeline sooner than she expected. We then cut to the wedding night where Xian gently sits in her room and waits for the general. She talks to herself, wondering what if she doesn't like the way he looks. After a while, the General Jian Yao walks in and removes her veil. She likes what she sees and decides to sleep with Jian Yao as soon as possible, believing it will bring her back to her present time, but Jian Yao is uninterested in her. He instead says that he'll be spending the rest of the night in another room. As a result, our heroine is left alone on her wedding night. The following day, Qian enjoys princess-like treatment in her new home, the Chu Manor. Her maids help her in the bath and also do everything else for her. Later, Qian is summoned in front of General Jian Yao, who informs her that his mother, the Queen Mother, is arriving at the palace tomorrow, and that Qian needs to behave like she's in love with him. Our heroine then makes the general laugh, but it turns out it's only her imagination. Jian Yao is still standing in front of her with a cold, unbothered face. Qian agrees to act accordingly in front of the Queen Mother, hoping she will be able to win her trust. The following day, the two wait for the Queen Mother to arrive. To Qian's surprise, Jing Rao, Jian Yao's childhood friend, gets out of the carriage and excitedly greets him. Qian is evidently jealous of the woman who seems to be rather flirty with the general. It is revealed that Jing Rao is also the niece of the Queen Mother. Jian Yao and Jing Rao catch up on their lives and flirt with each other. Luckily for Qian, the arrival of the Queen Mother cuts their small talk short. Qian is prepared to impress her mother-in-law. She warmly greets her and flatters her with sweet words. Queen Mother is immediately impressed by her daughter-in-law, calling her highly cultured and smart. She then suggests Jian Yao and Qian fulfill her dream soon and give her a grandchild. During dinner, Queen Mother loses her appetite and refuses to eat anything. Jing Rao asks if she can help with medicine, but Queen Mother bluntly declines her offer. In the meantime, Jian Yao wonders why his mother is being so rude to Jing Rao. The Queen Mother wants her son and her new daughter-in-law to make a toast, as she couldn't attend their wedding. She unexpectedly grabs a cup of alcohol and urges Jian Yao to do the same. Our hero unwillingly raises a glass and makes a toast just to abide by his mother's wishes. He's also doing the bare minimum to be friendly with Qian to make her mother-in-law feel better. Qian decides to make her signature soup. Qian was a well-known chef in her timeline, so she believes she can win over her mother-in-law with her cooking skills. Her plan works, and the Queen Mother absolutely loves Qian's homemade soup. Jing Rao is obviously envious, and she plots to get back at Qian and make Jian Yao fall in love with her. Later, Jian Yao and his personal assistant, Chan, talk in private. Jian Yao reveals that Jing Rao saved his life when they were children, so he feels obligated to her. However, Chan knows his master is only committed to Jing Rao out of appreciation, and that appreciation isn't love. It's also revealed that the emperor had granted Qian the marriage to Jian Yao, due to which our hero was forced to marry the heroine. In the meantime, Qian and Jian Yao are fishing near Chu Manor when a young prince crashes their party. He turns out to be Prince Hao, the emperor's son. Qian offers him grilled fish, and he loves it. So he asks her if she could cook other things as well. Feeling challenged, Qian tells him to bring any ingredients and she'll cook it. The next day, the prince brings over a sack of flour and challenges Qian to make something delicious. Our prominent chef immediately springs into action and does her magic. She starts with batter and makes different flavorful cakes. The dessert smells so good that it attracts Jian Yao and her assistant, Chan, who are working near the kitchen. The two men then go to investigate and find Qian with the prince. When asked why the prince had come all the way down to the general's manor, he says that he's aware of Jian Yao and Qian's situation. He then offers to speak to his father, the emperor, to annul the marriage. This way, Jian Yao can marry Jing Rao, and meanwhile, the prince can have Qian, as he is absolutely impressed by her cooking skills. But Jian Yao doesn't like the idea, as he is still unsure about whether he wants to marry Qian. So, he declines Prince Hao's offer and urges Qian to return to her parlor. Soon after, the two men start fighting over her, and Qian is forced to stop their bickering. She tells the men that she's not property to be passed from one to another, and that she can decide for herself. Just then, Queen Mother arrives and informs Jian Yao and Qian that she just came back from the temple and brought a soup that the monk had brewed for the couple. Apparently, the soup will help the couple produce children. They are forced to drink the soup under Queen Mother's orders. After this, they are locked in their room, and the couple starts feeling dizzy and hot because of the soup. At this time, Jian Yao remembers his mother explaining why he had been avoiding Jing Rao. Suddenly, it turns out that the Empress doesn't have a good relationship with the Emperor, and Jing Rao being related to the Empress might bring problems to the Chu family. Tensions rise between Qian and Jian Yao as they start feeling hotter and hotter. Suddenly, they are interrupted by Jing Rao's maid, saying that she has suddenly fainted. Alarmed, Jian Yao goes to see her, followed by Qian. Our heroine knows for sure that General is just pulling a stunt to get the General's attention and ruin their night. Qian decides to call her out, so she frightens the supposedly comatose Jing Rao with her acupuncture needles. Jing Rao, of course, gets better immediately at the sight of the needles, but still plays weak in front of her loving Jian Yao. That night, it suddenly starts thundering. Qian wakes up in the hospital and sees her crying mother, Li. Weirdly, she says that the blind date was not the old man she saw, but someone called Chu Jianyao. Before she can ask any questions, Qian wakes up in her bed at the Chu Manor. Sadly, it was just a dream, and she is still stuck in this timeline. In the meantime, the Queen Mother hears the rumor that Jian Yao and Qian were interrupted at night by Jing Rao. She knows that someone is setting up Qian to meddle with her reputation, and that someone is perhaps Jing Rao. The next day, Qian has a conversation with Jian Yao's assistant, Chan, who reveals to her that Jian Yao is not wealthy, since all of the Chu's family wealth goes into funding the soldiers and the poor of the nation. It turns out that the general is generous enough to look after his people. After hearing this, Qian feels even more attracted to him, so she decides to make money for herself by opening a restaurant. Next, she goes to town looking for a place while disguised as a man. She finds a prime location, but another buyer offers more than she can afford. In the meantime, Queen Mother calls a meeting with Jing Rao and tells her that someone has been starting rumors about Qian, and she finds out that it was Jing Rao's maid who started it all. So, as punishment, she orders Jing Rao's maid to be walloped 20 times. The Queen Mother then warns Jing Rao to take care of the maid. The woman, however, is far from giving up on Jian Yao. Back at the market, Qian is challenged by another buyer to a duel. Thankfully, Prince Hao arrives just in time to save the day. He asks her if she wants the restaurant, and if she does, he will buy it for her. They eventually come to an agreement to be business partners. However, Prince Hao runs off when more men turn up, leaving Qian and her maid surrendering on their knees. Much to her surprise, the general turns up in disguise. Bad guys asking how dare they hurt this woman. And then, Jian Yao scoops Qian up with his arms while bringing her to the manor. He informs her that his grandmother, the Great Mother Dowager, would like to see them. Later, Chan informs his master about Qian's restaurant business plan. The general then orders Chan to support his wife and protect the restaurant at all costs. The next morning, though, as Qian is busy creating her business plan, Jian Yao, his men, and the cunning Jing Rao unexpectedly visit her. It turns out that Jing Rao has plotted another scheme to frame her. Poor heroine, the evil woman blames Qian for stealing her mother's pendant and starts pulling a crazy stunt, acting so piteously and begging Qian to return the pendant. Our heroine is clueless about the pendant, but she definitely knows the jealous Jing Rao is just screwing with her. Much to Qian's disappointment, her husband, Jin Yao, seems to believe his childhood friend, Jing Rao's claim. The evil woman accuses Qian of selling the pendant to a pawn shop in the capital when she was in town the other day. Jin Yao tells her that she has no reason to do so, but Jing Rao continues to make up lies, claiming that Qian needs money, so she stole the pendant. Without even hearing his wife's side of the story, Jian Yao asks his guards to investigate all the pawn shops. And of course, they find a pawnbroker with his ledger. It has a record of the sale of the jade pendant under Qian's name. Qian is obviously surprised, and Jian Yao tells her that he is very disappointed with her. Qian is the general's wife, and pulling such a stunt is a disgrace to the Chu family. If she needed money, she could have asked him. In the next scene, Prince Hao suddenly turns up and says that it seems that there is a trust issue between the general and his wife. It is time for them to divorce. Jian Yao is shocked, and the prince further explains that Qian has no reason to steal because she has partnered with him for the restaurant. Additionally, he brings forward the pawnbroker's wife, who begs her husband to tell the truth. After realizing that they might face severe consequences for lying to the royals, the pawnbroker reveals the truth. He points at Jing Rao's maid, saying that she was the one who sold the pendant to him and paid him to frame Qian. Jing Rao, being the mastermind, starts worrying as she could be exposed, so she again puts on an act. She throws her maid under the bus and slaps her in front of everyone, but Xian knows Jing Rao is really behind it all. At the same time, Jian Yao suddenly grabs Xian's hand and drags her outside. He brings her near a stream and apologizes to her for not trusting her. Xian is stubborn at first and refuses to accept his apology. Jian Yao also tells her not to get too close to Prince Hao. But then he romantically carries her back to the manor in his arms, and she goes all gooey and eventually forgives him. Later, Jian Yao tells the assistant, Chan, that he did wrong by Qian. He got caught up in the lies made by another woman and did not support his wife. Chan quickly surmises that it looks like the general has started to fall in love with his wife, Qian. Jian Yao disagrees because he thinks his wife, Qian, is too plain and messy. But when the maid brings home food made by Qian, he almost pounces over the food, not wanting to share it with anyone. The general seemingly likes his wife, but is yet to realize it. In the meantime, Jing Rao is not satisfied with wanting to destroy Qian. When she learns that there is a woman whom Qian fears, she comes up with another plan. It is revealed that Qian dreadfully fears her big sister, Yang, and the two do not have a good relationship with each other. The next day, Qian and her business partner, Prince Hao, formally opened their restaurant. On the first day, they give free food to the poor people of the capital. Meanwhile, Jing Rao is furious at Qian for increasingly stealing the limelight. So, she has her maid talk to Qian's sister, Yang, to apparently create mayhem at the restaurant. As planned, Yang visits the restaurant with her men and starts slandering Qian. She then orders her men to destroy the place. However, Qian is unbothered by the destruction. Meanwhile, Prince Hao is freaking out because of the loss they now have to bear. Qian calmly says that Yang will be responsible for the loss, and she will have to pay 3 times whatever she and her men destroyed. Just then, the police arrive at the scene and arrest Yang, who is made to pay threefold for all the damages. When Jing Rao hears about her failed mission, she is clearly angry, but she doesn't stop attacking Qian with her lies and fake accusations. She goes on to spread another rumor that Prince Hao and Qian are romantically interested in each other. The part where Prince Hao likes Qian is true, but our heroine only has eyes for General Jiang Yao. In the next scene, Jian Yao informs his master about the rumor. Jian Yao is evidently furious, although he doesn't believe Chan Yao is actually involved with Prince Hao. Chan then warns Jian Yao to treat his wife warmly, or else the prince might snatch her away from him. His assistant's words of advice get the better of him, and that night, General calls Qian to the bath. Much to her shock, Jian Yao undresses her while calling her his woman. She excitedly does as she's told, and they end up kissing each other in the bath. The following day, the couple seems to be in a very good mood as they flirt and act lovingly with each other. This comes as a surprise to Prince Hao, as he had just recently witnessed a rather cold and bothered Jian Yao, who was very unsupportive of his wife. For the next couple of weeks, Qian's business blossoms and she earns more profit than expected. As Prince Hao is congratulating her on the success of the business, Jian Yao arrives to remind him that after all, she is the general's wife. The two men indeed have a cold war going on between them over our lovely heroine. Qian is forced to speak up when the two men continue insulting each other. She promises to cook a delicious dinner to keep everyone happy. As another day comes, so does another opportunity for Jing Rao to plot against Qian. This time, she manages to drive away Qian's customers from the restaurant by secretly poisoning the food. The customers then come to Qian, insult her, and start attacking her. Thankfully, before the situation can get any worse, Jian Yao arrives at the scene to defend his woman. He fends off the bad guys, swearing that the person behind this mess will not go unpunished. Jian Yao carries Qian in his arms and takes her to their manor. He takes care of her injuries and also massages her back. During this time, the couple starts kissing each other and eventually end up making love. Chen Yao is later approached by Jin Rao, who pretends to care for Qian. She asks if she's fine, to which Jian Yao blatantly tells her not to interfere with his marriage. He also asks her to leave the palace. After all, she's just a guest there. Hearing this, Jin Rao starts sobbing, reminding him of the many years they spent together as children and adolescents. But Jian Yao clarifies that he doesn't have any romantic feelings for her, but he does care about her since she once saved his life. Hearing this, Jin Rao is even more motivated to make Qian pay for supposedly stealing her man. She swears to herself that at this time, she will get rid of Qian and destroy her life. In the meantime, we finally get to see Qian's father from the Shao family. It's revealed that he's a greedy man who favors his elder daughter Yang over Qian. But when he hears that Qian has been winning the hearts of the Queen Mother, Great Mother Dowager, and General Jian Yao himself, He believes this will help him pour lots of money into the name of his daughter, but Chan knows better, so she gives him a list of expensive items to buy for her dowry. Her father is forced to give the dowry under the orders of the emperor himself. One day, Zhen Yao and Chan make a formal visit to his grandmother, the Great Mother Dowager. Thanks to her charming personality and prominent chef skills, Chan successfully impresses Great Mother Dowager as well. In response, she tells Chan that the Chu family is very lucky and proud to have a woman like Chan. As days go by, Chan continues making delicious food for Great Mother Dowager. She enjoys her time with her new family. However, Great Mother Dowager suddenly falls ill one day. After the doctor's examination, it's revealed that her food was apparently poisoned. With her modern-era knowledge, Chan tries her best to save Grandmother Dowager, but sadly she succumbs to the poisoning. This is a problem for Chan, as she was the one who was cooking the food for Great Mother Dowager for several days. She indeed looks like the main suspect. As a result, Chan is sent to prison, and when Zhen Yao decides to support her, he is stripped of his title and also sent to jail. He assures her that he will take care of her no matter how hard things get. One night, Prince Hao and both Zhen Yao and Shan's maids sneak into the prison to visit their favorite couple. It turns out that Chan hasn't given up on her cooking, and she has continued to make food for the prisoners. Prince Hao joins them in their cell, and this is when Zhen Yao asks him to arrange a meeting with the emperor himself. The prince is initially reluctant, but when he sees the poor face of Chan, he eventually agrees. Just then, a mysterious figure comes out of the darkness wearing a cloak. He is none other than the emperor himself. The emperor was unconvinced at the fact that Chan is behind the death of the Great Mother Dowager. Zhen Yao warns that this could be a much bigger thing than they think, as more people might be involved in this plot. The emperor rightly guesses that someone is trying to usurp the throne. He then suggests that they be ready for whatever comes their way in this grim situation. In the meantime, we finally get to see the main culprit. It turns out that the empress is behind all this chaos. She doesn't want General Jin Yao to be the next in line, and we learn that she wants to overthrow the emperor so that her son can become the emperor. This is the reason why Jian was framed for the murder, so that it would affect Jin Yao's reputation too. Jin Rao was also an accomplice in this plot by orchestrating lies and planting false evidence in Jin Rao's manor to frame him. For its honesty, all of this truth is revealed when the empress and her men attack the palace to overthrow the throne. She arrives with her men ready to kill the emperor. The emperor sneaks back to the palace from the prison and sits calmly on his throne. He lets her know that he is aware of a vicious plot and he already has a plan in mind. Soon after, much to their surprise, Prince Hao and Zhen Yao, clad in their soldiers' uniforms, arrive at the scene and take control of the situation. They manage to subdue the empress's men and force her to surrender. Jing Rao starts to whine, telling Zhen Yao that she's under the influence of the empress and she tried her best to save him. However, Zhen Yao knows better and doesn't buy into her manipulations anymore. Soon after, the empress, along with her goons, is thrown out of the palace. They are later sentenced to years in prison for their crimes. That night, Xian wakes up from a nightmare. Zhen Yao comforts her by kissing her, but Xian keeps saying that she doesn't want to lose him. Xian now realizes her time has come to leave this timeline for good. But now that she has found her lover and husband, Zhen Yao, she doesn't want to part ways anytime soon. She fears this will be the last time with him, the last kiss she will ever feel. The following morning, Xian wakes up at the hospital in her present timeline. She's absolutely heartbroken, especially when she finds out that she isn't with her husband, Zhen Yao, anymore. Her mother calms her, saying that everything will be alright. Xian starts sobbing when the nurse comes in to announce that the doctors are doing the rounds. But she abruptly stops crying when the doctor turns out to be Zhen Yao's doppelganger. The mother says that the doctor is actually the blind date she was supposed to meet before the accident. This was all Xian needed to hear before she leaves out of the bed and runs to Zhen Yao, the doctor. She then hugs him tightly, still sobbing. In the final scene, we see the current Xian and Zhen Yao living happily together in their own version of Emperor and Empress.